Let's go out to Athens, Georgia here for our final little piece of spring practice intel. The dogs are barking, and I asked, again, I'm always curious, what's the vibe on the grass? Compare it to last year. I said, does it feel different to the person I was speaking to, close to Georgia? Said, not really. Nope, not really. It's kind of just another Kirby Smart spring practice. And immediately I was like, I felt a little bit stupid because I was like, I don't think Kirby Smart ever needs to really dial it up. Like when you're running hot, you don't need to heat up. So that's kind of the theme right now at Georgia is, yeah, this is how we practice pretty much all the time. Spring ball is no different. I would say the way this team skews a bit older, I expect to be an advantage for them, obviously, during the fall. Probably also an advantage during the spring in terms of the kind of work you get. When you're a young buck playing college football, you are just drinking out of a fire hydrant, trying to take it all in at once, trying to work your way up the depth chart. All these different things are going through your mind. But when you're a veteran, a little bit later during spring practice, you're able to be a little bit more intentional with your work. Curious to see the dividends you see from that for Georgia here from spring practice into the fall. Now, the storyline out of spring practice right now, Gunnar Stockton, a little bit dinged up. No official report as of right now what's going on with him. In my notes, I have written down knee thing. What does that mean? I don't know. He's got a brace on his left knee. Limited, I was told, for the majority, if not all of spring. I'm really interested to see how much they even use him during Georgia's G-Day, their spring game. I'm not that worried about this right now because a lot of people don't know this. He was pretty beat up for the majority of Georgia's final run last season, and he played through it. Dude's a tough son of a gun. In some ways, you're almost glad you can get some more reps for Ryan Puglisi and a Montgomery and allow them to even be more capable when it comes to what they could be asked to do during the fall. Because let's be real now, Gunnar Stockton, dude has one speed. He's all gas, no brakes, baby. And I know they're going to ask him to slide, and I hope he does some of that for the longevity of his career. But, like, man, you don't saddle a wild horse. And Gunnar Stockton is a bucking bronco. So I fully expect him to be healthy by fall camp. I've heard even like during summer throwing sessions, he should be all the way cleared to be full go. You're just careful with your starting quarterback, especially when you don't have a lot of concerns as to who and what your starting quarterback is based on what he did last season. I think we all saw in different moments last year, Gunnar Stockton has got the juice. Gunnar Stockton's not a game manager. I know he doesn't look like this NFL prototypical pocket passer. He doesn't have these flashy measurables, but dude is a winner. Dude can play some football. He is good enough for Georgia to get to where they want to go offensively with what he brings from a skill set perspective at the quarterback position for the Dogs. So again, I'm excited to hear about how those two reserve quarterbacks grow during the spring and maybe are even more prepared for when it comes time for fall camp. This is just the most Georgia headline of all out of spring ball in terms of guys that are making some noise. The offensive line is something to monitor. They feel good about it, but something to monitor because you bring 3 of 5 back. What do those two non-returning starter spots look like? Ja Jackson is 6'10", 350 pounds. He had not played any football since his middle school days when he came to Georgia. He was a basketball player. You remember like Overtime Elite? You probably saw a lot of his highlights. Again, 6'10". He's massive. He's making a lot of noise right now during spring practice. They are really excited about his progress, the way that he's come along since getting to Georgia. They feel tremendous about. Jake Rowe is doing the Lord's work along with Rusty Mansell over at Dogs HQ. I was talking to him a little bit about spring ball, and he also was talking about this on the Georgia show, which is another piece of content that Dogs HQ has. Phenomenal stuff over there. He mentioned, hey, like I talked to some NFL scouts. When they come through Georgia, I got good relationships with those guys over the past few years. The NFL scouts talk to Jake Rowe and say, hey, Ja Jackson, he's the real deal. He's got to come along when it comes to actually like processing what's going on the football field because he hasn't done it as much. He's got to be a little bit more confident in himself. But in terms of his tools, in terms of what he is as like an offensive lineman for Georgia, he's got the goods. So, of course, Georgia takes a kid that hasn't played football since middle school, and maybe he ends up starting for them on the offensive line. I don't know, but Georgia being Georgia and molding massive human beings into great football players since Kirby Smart has gotten there. All right, wide receiver room was a position group I was super excited to hear more about when it came to spring practice because you're replacing Zachariah Branch, who did so much for your offense last year. I mean, over 800 yards receiving. He did a lot in the return game for you, setting up your offense. He was great even as a decoy. They are confident in how the offense can evolve without Zachariah Branch. There's no way to ever say it's a good thing to lose a guy like Zachariah Branch. Do not hear me incorrectly. But there is a feeling around Georgia that maybe last year they got a little bit Zachariah Branch dependent. Maybe used him a little bit more as a crutch offensively, which when you got a guy like that on your offense, like you get him the ball, you don't think too much about it. But they believe now they have a chance to be a little bit more open, a little bit more balanced in that receiver room with Zachariah Branch maybe being, obviously out of the mix there. They think maybe they have more passes to spread around, if you catch my drift there. Isaiah Canyon is a transfer wide receiver from Georgia Tech. Big dude now, 6'4", 215 pounds. Really good returns from him so far during spring ball. My take on this is I think great teams have great red zone tools, have great answers in the red zone. The big reason why Georgia won the SEC last year and made it to the playoff, they were top 10 in America when it came to red zone scoring. Noah Thomas and Colby Young, when he was healthy, combined for 5 touchdowns. All right, so my feeling is another big body who's brought in to kind of play that Noah Thomas, Colby Young role, him in the red zone with a matchup, always a good thing, and also going to help Gunnar Stockton out, I think, in those kinds of areas. So receiver room, we'll, of course, keep a pulse on it, but I like what I'm hearing so far around Isaiah Canyon and the approach with no Zachariah Branch in the mix for Mike Bobo and the boys. Defensively, y'all, the number I was told is like 21 to 25 guys deep on that side of the football, which just feels, one, like silly to say out loud, to have that many dudes that can play for you on that side of the football in like a meaningful way to contribute at Georgia. I'm talking about Georgia, not talking about God bless North Carolina or, any other school in another conference or Maryland or whoever. Like, we're talking about the Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann. They got 21, 25 guys. Okay. All right. It's exciting. Clemson transfer Khalil Barnes is someone that's made some noise. They think he's a versatile player that can play the safety position, can play nickel, can play star. Rusty Mansell, again, Dogs HQ, all the intel over there. He said that he's like a bigger Chris Smith, if Georgia fans remember him. So they think they got better on the back end to go along with KJ Bolden, go along with Ellis Robinson, having some more experience in that department as well. Never a bad thing, as well as flexibility. I just would be very shocked if we saw a Kirby Smart secondary be mid to subpar 2 years in a row. Like, say what you want about how Georgia hasn't won the national title in a couple of years here, which is funny to even have that gripe. I don't think Kirby Smart is a mistake repeater or an error repeater. If there is a gap in his roster or he sees something that needs to be upgraded, he's going to be pretty quick to do that. Sounds like they've done that on defense, especially in the secondary. So, again, not a lot of new at Georgia when it comes to anyone front-facing. No new quarterback, no new head coach, no new coordinators. Main thing's the main thing, and the main thing at Georgia, usually pretty good when it comes to what you've accomplished here over the course of the last couple of years, and the last 2 years winning the SEC. So the Dogs still barking during spring practice.